Nice people live in a world that values appearances, and their authenticity can clash with the superficiality around them. They don't subscribe to the transactional relationships that many find comfort in. For them, life is not about what they can gain, but about what they can give. This selflessness, though beautiful, can make them targets for exploitation. People who operate from a place of ego or self-interest may see authenticity as an invitation to take advantage. When a nice person speaks honestly, they risk being dismissed. Their words, spoken from the heart, may lack the sharp edges of cynicism that society has come to equate with wit or strength. Their simplicity, their unwillingness to adorn their truths with unnecessary complexities, is mistaken for a lack of depth, and so they are often overlooked in favor of louder voices, their wisdom lost in the clamor of a world that prizes volume over substance. But the misunderstanding runs deeper still. Authenticity is also uncomfortable for many because it holds up a mirror. A nice person's honesty can force others to confront their own inauthenticity. It can challenge the masks they wear, making them uneasy in the presence of someone who has nothing to hide. This discomfort can create distance, pushing people away rather than drawing them closer. Nice people carry this burden silently. They know that their authenticity may not always be appreciated, but they persist because they cannot imagine living any other way. To compromise their niceness would be to betray themselves, to become a stranger to the very essence of who they are. And so they walk this path, misunderstood but resolute, carrying the quiet strength of those who refuse to let the world dim their light. Nice people often find themselves drawn to meaningful, authentic connections rather than the fleeting, superficial relationships that seem to dominate modern life. They don't seek the limelight or large crowds. Instead, they value intimacy and depth. This selective approach to connection, however, can unintentionally set them apart. While many rush to surround themselves with as many people as possible, collecting acquaintances like trophies, the kind-hearted individual moves more deliberately, seeking quality over quantity. It's not that nice people lack the ability to make friends or be social, far from it. Their warmth and empathy often make them magnets for those seeking comfort or understanding. But the truth is, not everyone appreciates or reciprocates that level of emotional investment. To truly connect with someone on a deeper level requires vulnerability, trust, and a willingness to share more than surface-level pleasantries. Nice people crave this depth, but they often encounter others who aren't prepared or willing to meet them there. As a result, they may find their circle of trust shrinking rather than expanding. In a world that often values speed, convenience, and instant gratification, the selective nature of nice people can be misunderstood. They aren't dismissive of others, they simply choose to invest their energy where it feels meaningful. They understand that their time and emotional capacity are finite resources, and they prefer to share them with individuals who genuinely appreciate and reciprocate their efforts. This doesn't mean they are judgmental or elitist. It's a matter of self-preservation, of recognizing that not every relationship is worth the emotional toll. But there's a cost to this approach. While nice people prioritize meaningful bonds, the search for these connections can be a lonely one. They might find themselves at odds with a culture that often celebrates quantity over quality, leaving them feeling out of sync with the prevailing norms of social interaction. They may attend a gathering and feel more alone in a crowd than they ever would in solitude because the conversations stay on the surface, unable to reach the depth they yearn for. Their selective connection stems not from arrogance but from a deep understanding of their own values. Nice people don't want to be surrounded by noise, they want to be surrounded by authenticity. They're not interested in relationships that feel transactional, where kindness is met with indifference or even exploitation. They seek relationships that inspire growth, where mutual respect and empathy are the foundation. This selective nature is not a weakness, it's a strength, though it can sometimes leave them isolated. In being so selective, they also leave themselves vulnerable to being misunderstood. Some may see their quiet nature as aloofness or their unwillingness to conform to shallow social norms as a rejection. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Nice people long for connection just as deeply as anyone else, perhaps even more so. Their discernment isn't a lack of desire, but a refusal to settle for less than genuine, soul-enriching relationships. This selectivity is both a blessing and a challenge. It shields them from the harm of shallow relationships, but also limits the number of people who truly understand and appreciate them. Yet for nice people, this trade-off is worth it. They would rather walk alone for a while, waiting for the right people to join them on their journey, than compromise the integrity of their connections. In this, they demonstrate an extraordinary courage and self-awareness, choosing the path less traveled in favor of a more meaningful existence. Nice people live with their hearts wide open, an attribute that makes them profoundly human and deeply connected to the emotions of others. This openness, however, is a double-edged sword. Their ability to feel and empathize so intensely often leaves them exposed to pain that others might deflect or dismiss. Emotional vulnerability becomes both their greatest strength and their most significant challenge. You see, the nice person doesn't build walls, they build bridges. They extend themselves to others, offering a safe haven where emotions can be expressed without judgment or fear. But while they're busy tending to the emotional needs of those around them, they often neglect their own. Their capacity to give is so vast that they may forget the importance of receiving, leaving their emotional reservoirs depleted. This creates a paradox. They are surrounded by people, yet often feel profoundly alone. Their vulnerability also invites exploitation. The world, unfortunately, is not always kind to those who are kind. People who are too trusting or too forgiving are sometimes viewed as easy targets. A nice person's willingness to see the good in others can blind them to ill intentions. They forgive when others would retaliate. They offer understanding when others would turn away, and they extend second chances when most would have walked away. While these qualities are admirable, they can also leave the nice person carrying scars that go unnoticed by those around them. Being emotionally vulnerable means that nice people are deeply affected by the subtleties of relationships. A cold tone, an unreturned call, or a small betrayal can weigh heavily on their hearts. They replay conversations, searching for where they might have gone wrong, even when the fault doesn't lie with them. Their introspection, while a source of growth, often turns inward in the form of self-doubt. They question their worth, not because they lack it, but because they measure their value by the happiness they bring to others. And yet their vulnerability is not weakness, it's a profound source of strength. It allows them to connect with others on a level that few can reach. They have the courage to feel deeply, to love without conditions, and to care in ways that transform lives. This openness to emotion makes them the kind of people who are remembered, even if they're not always appreciated in the moment. But the emotional landscape of nice people is complex. Their openness doesn't mean they are oblivious to pain. In fact, they often feel it more acutely than others. They experience the weight of loss, disappointment, and rejection in ways that leave lasting impressions on their hearts. And yet they continue to open themselves to the world. Why? Because they believe in the fundamental goodness of humanity, even when faced with evidence to the contrary. Their vulnerability also fosters resilience. Though they may be hurt, they are not broken. Each emotional wound becomes a lesson, a reminder of the depth of their humanity. They learn to set boundaries, not to harden themselves, but to protect the light within them. For nice people, vulnerability is not about giving up control, but about embracing life with all its messiness, complexity, and beauty. This emotional openness is both their cross to bear and their gift to the world. It shapes who they are, and while it may leave them standing alone at times, it also ensures that they leave an indelible mark on the hearts they touch. When nice people find themselves in solitude, it is not a sign of failure or inadequacy, it is a crucible in which their character is forged. Solitude for them is not just a state of being alone, it is a sanctuary where they reconnect with their essence, untethered from the expectations and demands of the world. It is here, in the quiet hours, that they begin to understand the depth of their own resilience. Solitude forces them to confront their thoughts, their fears, and their desires without distraction. Unlike others who may seek constant validation or companionship to escape introspection, nice people embrace this reflective state. They face the silence not with fear, but with a quiet determination to listen to what it has to teach. Through this self-reflection, they come to understand their intrinsic worth, one that is not dependent on external acknowledgement or the approval of others. In solitude, they gain clarity about the choices they have made, the sacrifices, the compromises, and the boundaries they often hesitated to set. They begin to see the patterns in their lives, the moments where they gave too much or stayed silent when they should have spoken up. This clarity doesn't lead to bitterness, but to a profound awareness of the balance they must strike between kindness and self-preservation. Their solitude becomes a space for renewal. It is where they replenish the energy spent in giving, where they nurture their own emotional needs without guilt or apology. They learn to cherish their own company, finding fulfillment in moments of creativity, curiosity, or simply being still. Through these acts of self-care, they discover an inner strength that cannot be shaken by the fleeting judgments of others. The world often misunderstands solitude, equating it with loneliness or isolation. But for nice people, it is a source of empowerment. In solitude, they are free from the expectations to conform, to please, or to compromise their values. They become the masters of their own time, their own thoughts, their own emotions. This freedom allows them to rediscover the essence of who they are, not as someone defined by their relationships, but as an individual with their own unique light. As they grow stronger in their solitude, something remarkable begins to happen. They realize that being alone is not about the absence of others, but about the presence of oneself. They are no longer afraid of rejection or abandonment because they have learned that their worth is not tied to being chosen or accepted. They find peace in their own company, knowing that they have everything they need within themselves. This transformation is not immediate, nor is it easy. It requires confronting uncomfortable truths, enduring moments of doubt, and rebuilding one's sense of self from the inside out. But it is through this process that nice people discover the profound strength hidden in their solitude, a strength that comes from knowing who they are, what they stand for, and what they deserve. In the end, solitude becomes not just a refuge but a foundation. It is the unshakable ground upon which they build a life of authenticity and purpose. This strength, born from their time alone, is what enables them to continue being kind in a world that does not always reciprocate. It is what allows them to remain steadfast in their values, unyielding in their gentleness, and quietly, unshakably strong. Kindness is often seen as a simple, effortless act, but it is far from that. To be kind in a world that tests your patience, questions your motives, and sometimes takes you for granted requires a strength few possess. Nice people are not weak, they are warriors of compassion, bearing the weight of their own struggles while easing the burdens of others. And though their journey may sometimes lead them to solitude, it is in that solitude that they discover their truest power. Being nice isn't about fitting into the mold others expect of you, it's about standing firm in your values, even when the world tells you to do otherwise. It's about choosing connection over competition, understanding over judgment, and love over indifference. And yes, it can be a lonely road at times, but it is a road paved with integrity, self-respect, and an unshakable belief in the beauty of humanity. So, to those who often feel alone because of their kindness, remember this: your solitude is not emptiness, it is a space filled with courage, wisdom, and self-awareness. You are not alone in the truest sense. For every act of kindness you give, you plant a seed that will bloom in ways you may never see. You are a light in a world that often forgets its own darkness, and your presence makes a difference, even when it feels unnoticed. To be kind is to be brave. To To walk through life with an open heart is to carry the weight of others' indifference and still remain unbroken. It is not the easiest path, but it is the most meaningful one. And as you walk it, you are building a legacy, a quiet, lasting legacy of love, resilience, and hope. Thank you for giving me your time and attention tonight. It's not always easy to reflect on the deeper truths of our lives, but the fact that you stayed with me through this journey speaks to your own strength and openness. To each of you, whether you see yourself in these words or know someone who does, remember that kindness, no matter how it is received, always leaves an impact. Carry that thought with you. Be proud of your gentleness.
Every time someone gets too close, offers too much genuine care, your brain initiates what scientists call a biochemical evacuation protocol. You suddenly remember someone who needs your help, or you find ways to diminish your own needs, or you simply become overwhelmed with anxiety. But here's where it gets really fascinating and hopeful. Your brain designed this matrix, and your brain can redesign it through specific practices that we'll talk about. You can literally rewire your neurochemistry. You can teach your brain that receiving love is safe, that being cared for doesn't mean danger, that genuine connection doesn't require perpetual giving. The biochemical pattern you're stuck in isn't your fault. It's the result of years of conditioning. But understanding this matrix is the first step to breaking free from it. Your brain has spent years perfecting a chemistry of isolation. Now it's time to create a new chemical signature for both giving and receiving, for both caring and being cared for. Remember, every time you respond differently to life, you're creating new neural pathways. Every time you allow yourself to receive without giving back immediately, you're altering your brain's chemistry. This isn't just about changing your behavior. It's about literally transforming the biochemical blueprint of your relationships. Your body isn't just a collection of cells and chemicals. It's a living, breathing energy field that extends far beyond your physical form. And right now, your pattern of constant giving is creating an electromagnetic signature that's literally pushing away the very connections you desire most. Let me explain something fascinating about quantum physics and human interaction. Scientists have discovered that your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends up to 6 feet around your body. This field carries information not just about your physical state, but about your emotional patterns, your unconscious beliefs, and yes, your tendency to override your own needs for others. When you're constantly in a state of giving and always anticipating others' needs, always ready to jump in and help, your energy field broadcasts a very specific frequency. It's like you are sending out an electromagnetic signal that says, I don't need anything, I'm here to give. But here's the quantum paradox. This energy of perpetual giving actually creates a field of neediness. Think about what happens in your body when you're in your habitual pattern of nice behavior. Your heart rate changes, your breathing shifts, your hormones fluctuate, and all of these changes affect your electromagnetic field. You might think you're projecting strength and capability, but at a quantum level, you're broadcasting frequency patterns of depletion and unconscious need. Here's what's really fascinating about energy fields. They operate on what quantum physicists call the principle of coherence. Like attracts like. Your energy field of perpetual giving tends to attract people who are looking for someone to give to them. It's not random, it's physics. You're literally magnetizing relationships that reinforce your pattern of giving without receiving. In our advanced workshops, we use sophisticated equipment to measure these electromagnetic fields. What we've found is remarkable. When nice people finally allow themselves to receive, their heart coherence patterns completely transform. The electromagnetic signature shifts from a pattern of depletion to one of genuine exchange. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something quantum physics is just beginning to understand. Your energy field holds the memory of every time you've said yes when you meant no, every time you've pushed down your own needs, every time you've chosen others over yourself. This creates what I call an electromagnetic pattern of self-denial. And until you change this pattern at the energetic level, you'll keep attracting relationships that mirror this imbalance. The good news is that energy fields can be changed instantly. The moment you shift your internal state, your electromagnetic signature transforms. When you finally give yourself permission to receive, when you allow yourself to be genuinely seen and supported, your energy field broadcasts a completely different frequency. This isn't metaphysical speculation, it's measurable science. Your heart's electromagnetic field responds instantly to your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. Every time you choose to honor your own needs, every time you allow yourself to receive without immediately giving back, you're literally reshaping your energy field. Think of it like tuning a radio to a different frequency. Right now, your energy field is tuned to the frequency of perpetual giving. But with conscious awareness and specific practices, you can tune it to a frequency that allows for both giving and receiving, for both caring and being cared for. This is how we break the energetic pattern of isolation at its quantum level. The moment you decide to change your nice person programming is the moment you begin to rewrite your future. But this isn't just about making different choices. It's about literally rebuilding your brain from the inside out. Let me show you exactly how we're going to do this. Let's talk about meditation, but not the kind you might be thinking of. I'm talking about a specific type of mental rehearsal that literally rebuilds neural circuits. When you sit down to meditate, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in your mind and what's happening in your reality. This is the key to breaking free from your addiction to approval. Here's the process. Every morning, before you get out of bed, before you check your phone, before you jump into your automatic giving patterns, you're going to spend 20 minutes rewiring your brain. Start by sitting up straight, closing your eyes, and placing your attention in the space around your heart. As you slow down your breathing, imagine your heart being surrounded by a golden light of self-worth. Now, here's where the real neural rewiring happens. I want you to recall a time when you automatically said yes, when you wanted to say no. Feel those familiar feelings of obligation, that tension in your body. Now, here's the crucial part. Instead of pushing those feelings away, let them be there. Your brain needs to learn that it can feel uncomfortable without immediately trying to fix it. As you sit with these feelings, start to imagine a new version of yourself, one who values their own needs equally with others. See yourself saying no with grace and ease. Feel the sensation of putting yourself first without guilt. Your brain is literally building new neural networks as you do this. You are creating what neuroscientists call parallel neural pathways, alternative routes for your thoughts and behaviors. But we're not just creating new pathways, we're breaking an addiction. Your brain is addicted to the dopamine hit it gets from being needed. So in your meditation, I want you to practice feeling worthy without doing anything for anyone. This is harder than it sounds. Your brain will resist. It will try to plan how you can help others today. Notice these thoughts and gently return to simply being worthy. Now let's add another layer. Imagine someone offering you help, support, or love. Notice the immediate discomfort in your body. This is your old programming trying to maintain control. Instead of following your habitual pattern of deflection, or immediate reciprocation. Practice staying present with the feeling of receiving. Let your body learn that receiving is safe. Here's something fascinating about neural networks. They're strengthened through repetition and emotion. So as you practice this new way of being, really feel the emotions of self-worth, of being valued just for who you are, not what you do for others. The stronger the emotion, the faster you build new neural pathways. I want you to practice a specific technique we call future memory installation. Imagine a future scene where someone offers you help or love. Instead of your usual response, see yourself receiving gracefully. Feel the joy of allowing others to give to you. Your brain will begin to accept this new pattern as familiar, safe, and desirable. But here's the most crucial part. You need to stay in this meditation long enough to move beyond the discomfort. Most nice people quit when it gets uncomfortable. That discomfort is your old neural networks fighting for survival. Push past it. Stay in the meditation until you feel a shift in your energy, until receiving feels as natural as giving. Remember, every time you do this meditation, you're literally changing your brain's structure. You're building what neuroscientists call selective neural pruning, weakening the old pathways of compulsive giving, while strengthening new pathways of balanced receiving and giving. This isn't just psychological work, it's biological transformation. Every time you practice this meditation, you're changing your gene expression, altering your brain chemistry, and restructuring your neural networks. You're literally becoming a new person at a biological level. The key is consistency. Do this every morning for 40 days. Why 40 days? Because research shows it takes about that long to establish stable neural networks. Your brain has spent years perfecting its nice person programming. Give it time to establish new, healthy patterns. Trust the process, even when it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is the sensation of your brain rewiring itself. Your addiction to approval didn't develop overnight, and it won't dissolve overnight. But with this specific meditation practice, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're literally rebuilding your brain's architecture. You're creating a new neural foundation for balanced, authentic relationships. Let me show you exactly how to transform these new neural patterns into your daily reality. This isn't just about understanding, it's about becoming someone new. Someone who can both give and receive. Someone who values themselves as much as they value others. Your morning practice is your foundation for transformation. Before you open your eyes, before your feet touch the floor, place your hand on your heart. Feel your heartbeat. This is your reminder you're not just a giver. You're a living, breathing being worthy of receiving. Take 3 deep breaths and say these words. I give myself permission to receive today. Now, here's where most nice people miss a crucial step. They try to change their behavior without changing their energy, but you can't create new results with old energy. So here's your morning energy calibration practice. Stand up, feet shoulder-width apart, hands raised to the sky. Feel the energy of the universe flowing down through your crown, through your heart, down into the earth. This creates what we call an energy column of self-worth. Throughout your day, you're going to practice what I call pattern interruption. Every time your phone rings, every time someone makes a request, pause. Take one conscious breath. In that pause, ask yourself, what do I really want in this moment? This simple practice begins to break the automatic response pattern of your nice person programming. Your evening practice is equally crucial. Before sleep, when your brain is most receptive to new programming, lie down and place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Review your day, looking specifically for moments when you honored your own needs. Feel the satisfaction of those moments. Your brain will begin to associate self-care with pleasure instead of guilt. Here's a powerful technique for accelerating your transformation. Create what I call an energy boundary ritual. Every morning, imagine drawing a golden circle around yourself. This is your zone of authentic choice. When requests come in, notice, do they penetrate this boundary automatically, or do you consciously choose to let them in? This simple practice begins to rebuild your energetic sovereignty. But transformation isn't just about adding new practices. It's about breaking old patterns. So here's your pattern breaking assignment. Once a day, deliberately disappoint someone. I'm not talking about being unkind. I'm talking about saying no to something you'd automatically say yes to. Feel the discomfort and stay present with it. This is how you build your capacity to tolerate the discomfort of change. Remember, every time you choose differently, you're not just changing a behavior, you're literally reshaping your energy field. You're creating new patterns in the quantum field that will attract to different types of relationships and opportunities. This isn't metaphysical. It's measurable change in your body's electromagnetic field. Your transformation isn't just personal. It's part of a larger evolution in consciousness. As you learn to balance giving and receiving, you become a living example of what's possible. You become a template for a new way of being in relationship with yourself and others. Let's turn this new knowledge into daily action. Transformation happens in the trenches of everyday life, in those moments when you choose differently. Here's your practical blueprint for lasting change. Start tracking your energy levels throughout the day. Rate your energy from 1 to 10, 3 times daily, morning, noon, and night. You'll begin to notice something fascinating. Your energy actually increases when you maintain healthy boundaries. This is measurable evidence of your transformation. Create what I call a no practice zone. Each day, designate 1 hour where you automatically say no to any requests, not because you don't want to help, but because you're practicing the art of putting yourself first. Watch what happens in your nervous system. Notice how your body responds to protecting your time and energy. Here's a powerful strategy for creating new relationship dynamics. Start telling people what you need, not as a complaint, not as a crisis, but as a simple statement of fact. I need some quiet time. I need support with this. I need to think about it before I answer. This isn't selfish, it's honest, and it creates space for authentic connection. Monitor your progress by tracking what I call self-honor moments. These are times when you choose yourself despite the old programming screaming at you to put others first. Write them down. Celebrate them. Your brain needs evidence that the new way is working. Watch how your relationships begin to shift. Some people won't like the new you, and that's perfect. It means your energy field is no longer matching old patterns. You're creating space for relationships that honor both giving and receiving. You're standing at a quantum crossroads right now. In this moment, infinite possibilities exist. The old you, the one who earned love through endless giving, that person is just one version of your potential. But there's another version of you emerging, one who knows that real love flows both ways. The next time someone offers you help, the next time someone wants to give to you, remember this moment. Remember that you're not just changing a habit, you're literally rewiring your brain, reformatting your energy field, rewriting your future. Your transformation isn't just about you. It's about breaking a pattern that has kept countless beautiful souls trapped in isolation. Think bigger than just changing your behavior. You're participating in the evolution of human consciousness. Every time you choose to value yourself, every time you allow yourself to receive, you're creating ripples in the quantum field that touch countless others. The science is clear. The tools are in your hands. The only question left is, are you ready to be more than just nice? Are you ready to be whole? Your time of giving from depletion is over. Your time of giving from wholeness is just beginning.